this is Hermilia B. Gratuito. Our lesson will be all about the perfect tenses of the verb. By the way, what is a perfect form? Perfect means made complete or completely done. The perfect form is the verb tense used to indicate a completed or perfected action or condition. As usual, we have the three tenses of the verb. In the perfect tenses, we have the past perfect, the present perfect, the future. Let us have past perfect tenses first. What is a past perfect? A past perfect tense of the verb begins some time ago and ends at some point before now. How to form the past perfect? Okay, we have the verb had plus past participle of the verb. In the timeline, we have past, present, and future. So, the action, remember, is first a completed activity, and then there is another activity within the time frame of past. It doesn't matter if the subject is singular or plural. The formula doesn't change. So meaning, had or the verb had does not change even if your subject is singular or plural. It is still the same. So example, I had saved my document before the computer crashed. These are an example of a complete list of past perfect forms for the verb finish in order for you to be guided on how to form the past perfect tenses of the verb. So we have positive, negative, and question form of the past perfect verb finish. So first person, positive, I had finished. Negative, I had not finished. And in the question form, had I not finished? Second person, you had finished. You had not finished in the negative. And in the question form, had you finished? Again, in the second person, including the speaker, we had finished. We had not finished. Had we finished? Third person, plural. They had finished. They had not finished. Had they finished? Third person singular, he, she, it. The positive, he, she, it had finished. In the negative form, he, she, it had not finished. And in the question form, had he, she, it finished? Remember, in the question form, the past perfect tense of the verb, had comes first before the subject. So you see, the subject in the first person, I, had comes first before I, and then you. Okay, if you can see on the table. What are the usage of the past perfect tense? First, it is used for something that started in the past and continued up to a given time in the past. Example, I had never seen such a beautiful beach before I went to Kauai. Second example, a second usage, for something we had done several times up to a point in the past and continued to do after that point. So, he had written 3 books and he was working on another one. So, he had started before and then he is continuing to another one. The third usage is when we are reporting our experience and including up to the then present. So, example, my 18th birthday was the best day I had ever had. So, there is the word ever. Another is for something that happened in the past but is important at the time of reporting. It may happen in the past, but it is very important that you have to say this one. So, Teresa wasn't at home. She had gone shopping. Had gone. Another usage is to talk about the past in conditions, hypotheses, and wishes. Okay, let us have the example for condition. I would have helped him if, the word if for condition, he had asked. For the hypothesis, the phrase what if signifies hypothesis. So example, it was very dangerous. What if you had got lost? See, there is the phrase you had got. And in the wishes, so there is the word wish. So I wish, the phrase, I hadn't spent so much money last month. Use a clause with since to show when something started in the past. Okay, this is another one. So, example, I was sorry when the factory closed. I had worked there since I left school. Okay, there is also a past perfect tense with the word just. Just is used with the past perfect to refer to an event that was only a short time earlier than before. Short, very short time than before. Okay, so example, the train had just left when I arrived at the station. When not to use the past perfect. Of course, there are usages, but there could be also, these are limited. So, when not to use the past perfect. Don't use the past perfect when you're not trying to convey some sequence of events. Okay? So, I think this sentence, it has an X. So, I had cleaned it off the door. Why it is marked X? Because this has not convey sequence of events. Meaning, it's only there, up to there. So, if it is not conveying a sequence of events, it could not be used as a past perfect. But look at this one. After I discovered the graffiti, I had cleaned it off. So, there were two actions done. Discovered the graffiti, and then I had cleaned it off. Discovered and clean. So, this is what I mean by when to use the past perfect. The first example is not to use the past perfect because it didn't convey sequence of events. Let's go now to the present perfect tense of the verb. What is the present perfect tense? The present perfect is used to indicate a link between the present and the past. Remember, link. So the present perfect tense is oddly named because it is used to describe actions that began in the past. However, it is different from the simple past tense because quite often, the actions being described are still continuing into the present. So, how do we form the present perfect tense? We have the verb has for singular subject or have for plural subject plus past participle of the verb. So, okay, this is the timeline. Past, present, and then future. Look at this one. The activity in the present perfect tense started in the past and continues to the present. There is a continuity from past to present. Okay, we have an example of the verb travel so that we will know how to make sentences for the present perfect forms. So we have positive, negative, and question. Okay, so first person, I have traveled for positive, then negative, I have not traveled. Question, have I traveled? You have traveled. You have not traveled. Have you traveled? We have traveled. We have not traveled. Have we traveled? They have traveled. They have not traveled. Have they traveled? He has traveled. He has not traveled. Has he traveled? She has traveled. She has not traveled. Has she traveled? It has traveled. It has not traveled. Has it not traveled? If you can notice, again, the verb have comes first before the subject in the question form of a sentence. And for the third person, he, she, and it has, the verb has been used. The usage of the present perfect tense. We use the present perfect tense for something that started in the past and continues in the present. Okay, so example. She has worked in the bank for 5 years. So meaning she has started since 5 years ago and until now. Another usage is for something we have done several times in the past and continue to do. I play the guitar ever since I was a teenager. So maybe up to now, he's still playing the guitar. Another usage is when we are talking about our experience up to the present. But note, we often use the adverb ever to talk about experience up to the present. So, example, my last birthday was the best day I have ever. If we have the positive ever, we also use the negative never for the negative form of experience up to the present. So, example, have you ever met George? Yes, but I've never met his wife. Another usage for the present perfect tense is this is for something that happened in the past but is important at the time of speaking. So, example, I can't get in the car. I've lost my keys. Is used as a clause with since to show when something started in the past. I've been watching that program every week since it started. So there is the word since, meaning the program has started a while ago and then he had continued to start until the present. Okay, we use the present perfect of be when someone has gone to a place and returned. Example, where have you been? Oh, I've just been out to the supermarket. So there is the word or the verb be, been. But when someone has not returned, we use have, has, gone. Okay? Where is Maria? I haven't seen her for weeks. She's gone to Paris for a week. She'll be back tomorrow. Okay? Another usage is, this is use the present perfect tense with time adverbials, which refer to the recent past. So, first we have an example of the word just, only just, and then recently. So, these are time adverbials. Okay. I have just finished my work. Just. Or adverbials which include the present, ever, in question, so far, until now, up to now, yet. This is in questions and negatives. So, example. Have you ever seen a ghost? Warning. Do not use the present perfect with an adverbial which refers to past time, which is finished, already done. So, example. When we were children, we have been to California. Do not use that one because you have already been a child or you were already children before this happened. So, but we can use it to refer to a time which is not yet finished. So, let's have an example. We have bought a new car this week. Okay? Not yet finished. Maybe tomorrow, but within the week. Oh, the third one is future perfect tense. This is a combination of future time and the present perfect tense. It shows an action or event that started in the past, is starting, or will start in the future, and that will also be completed at some future time. So meaning there is a continuity, but the continuity would be in the future time. It is most often used with an expression. Like by, which means not later than a particular time. So example, I promise I'll have done all the work by next Saturday. So time frame will be has started maybe a while ago and then will be finished next Saturday. An expression in means within a period of time. It can be used in the future perfect tense. So, I'll have finished in an hour and then you can use the computer. Okay. So, meaning, give me an hour. And then after that, you can use the computer. Forming the future perfect tense. Okay. We'll have the phrase, will have, be going to, plus the past participle of the verb. Okay, we'll look at this timeline. Past, present, and future. Okay. At this time, activity will have been completed. So, from past and then going to the future, or will be completed in the future. So that is future perfect tense. Example, will you have perfected your English by the time you come back from the US? Probably. Or, are you going to have perfected your English by the time you come back from the US? This is a timetable. Look at this one. We have the subject I, you, she, we, will, and will. So, there are positive marks and then negative and then question. Okay, so you have the auxiliary verb will. And then, not for the negative. And then you have the auxiliary verb again, have. And then you have the main verb. And then there could be time indicator. So, look at the first line. I will have finished by 10 a.m. So, time indicator, time at 10 a.m. You will have forgotten me by then. Time indicator will be in the future, by then. And then, she will not have gone to school. Where? To school. We will not have left. Will you have arrived? Or will they have received it? Okay, I hope this can be a guide for you to make the future perfect tense sentences. Usage of the future perfect tense. We use the future perfect tense to say how long for an action that starts before and continues up to another action or time in the future. So, example, we need 4. Okay? At 4 o'clock, I'll have been in this office for 24 hours. So, there is a time indicator. 4. 24 hours. We also use when. When we get married, I'll have known Robert for 4 years. So, with a future time word and often with by to talk about an action that will finish before a certain time in the future, but we don't know exactly when. Example, by the time I'm 60, I will have retired. This means I will retire sometime before I'm 60. Or maybe when I'm 59, maybe when I'm 52. Now let's go to your learning. So, we have the first set. A, match the reason with the sentences. Using since to show that something started in the past. Experience up to the point in the past to talk about past wishes. Past event, important up to the time of reporting. To talk about past conditions. And something done several times up to a point in the past. Okay, we will use the phrases above or under letter A to identify what the sentences or what the following sentences talks about. okay, or meant. Number 1, she'd been married 3 times before she met George, okay. Please identify what does it means or what the sentence talk about. Number 2, I don't think I'd ever seen an eclipse until yesterday. Okay, you can select from the 6. Number 3, we thought he'd broken his leg, so we phoned for an ambulance. So what is this? Number 4, if I'd known, I probably would never have come. Number 5, he'd been working for the company since he graduated. And number 6, I wish you'd told me earlier. Okay, I think you have to go through with the usage of the past perfect tense for this set A test. Okay? Let's go to set B. Match the reason with the sentences. These are the following reasons. Something started in the past and continuing in the present. So maybe this is present perfect tense. Something done several times in the past. Time adverbial of recent past. Experience up to the present. Past event important at the time of speaking, with a time adverbial that includes the present. Okay, number 1 sentence. She's been married 3 times. What could be the reason? Number 2, I don't think I've ever seen an eclipse. So, what could be the reason for this? Number 3, I think he's broken his leg. We'd better phone for an ambulance. Or, you'll never guess who I've just met. 5, he's been working for the company since he graduated. And the 6th one is we haven't had any complaints so far. So match the reason with the sentences 1 to 6. Set C. Select the one with an example of the future perfect tense. Which one of A and B is the future perfect tense? Letter A. I don't have a bank account because I don't know my mother's maiden name. Letter B. By this time tomorrow, we'll have signed the deal. Number 2. Letter A. By July, I will have finished my university degree. Letter B. Curiosity killed the cat, but for a while, I was the suspect. 3. He usually will have drunk 5 pints of lager before he gets on stage. B. Don't worry about people stealing an idea. If it's original, you will have to ram it down their throats. Which one is a future perfect tense? 4. Letter A. It is estimated that by 2035, robots will have taken over 1/3 of all jobs in the US. B. Familiarity breeds contempt. And children. 5th. Letter A. After all is said and done, a lot more will have been said than done. B. Equal opportunity means everyone will have a fair chance at being incompetent. Are you ready for evaluation of your answers? Okay, let us have this one. This is the answer key for set A. Something done several times up to a point in the past. That is the reason for sentence number 1. Sentence number 2, that was an experience up to the point in the past. Sentence number 3, a past event important up to the time of reporting. 4, the 4th sentence has talked about past conditions. Number 5 sentence, using since to show that something started in the past. In the 5th sentence, it has the word since. And then the 6th sentence, the reason is to talk about past wishes. Okay, for set B. Number 1, the reason is something done several times in the past. Number 2, experience up to the present. Number 3, past event important at the time of speaking. Fourth reason, the reason for the fourth sentence is it has time adverbial of recent past. And then the reason for number 5 is it is something started in the past and continuing in the present. For sentence number 6, with the time adverbial that includes the present. Okay, let's go to the answer for set C. Remember that you have to select which sentence in every number represent future perfect tense. Okay, number 1 is B. By this time tomorrow, we'll have signed the deal. We will have. Okay. Number 2, the future perfect tense sentence is letter A. By July, I will have finished my university degree. So there is the word I will have, a phrase. And then for the third is letter A. He usually will have drunk 5 pints of lager before he gets on stage. Will have drunk. 4 is letter A again. It is estimated that by 2035, robots will have taken over a third of all jobs in the US. Will have taken. And the fifth one is letter A. After all is said and done, a lot more will have been said than done. Okay? What is your answer? Have you evaluated your answer? I hope you have learned many things from the perfect tenses of the verb. Again, this is Hermelia Bigal Tuito. Thank you.
Drop a like and do share. Leave your comments and do not forget to subscribe for more videos.